Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mr. Hino with Mr. Hino's Lego Robotics. In today's video, I'm going to make this part short because today's video is going to be the response video to the question I asked, where does robotics go from here in 2023 and beyond? And so I asked you guys your questions. I told you I was going to meet up with Gary from the Creator Academy in Australia. And we had our Zoom talk. And basically today I'm going to just let you see my part of where I ask Gary your guys' questions, actually just a lot of questions. And I hope we hit on some of the questions that you guys asked about. I'll be honest, on my part, it was hard to talk about different types of programming platforms when all I have used is just the standard EV3, the LabVIEW, Spike Prime, just the basics because that's all we've needed. And I haven't had to venture out to other platforms. But today, hopefully you get some insight into the conversations Gary and I had about where does robotics go from here? Those of you that have EV3s, what do we do? How reliable is the Lego robotics platform right now? And then it was awesome to talk about a possibility of an EV4. So we're going to touch a little bit on that, but it's just going to be lighthearted and definitely directing towards your questions of where do we go. It's really tough because, we don't have a crystal ball to see everything that's going to happen. But I think in the end, we just agreed that I don't think Lego is going to leave us hanging. I do think they'll possibly come out with another thing because I don't think they're going to just survive on Spike Prime alone. But I'll let the video take care of itself. So thank you again for your questions. And here is my side of the interview. So I guess I'm up, Gary. All right, Gary.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. My viewers are asking, in your opinion, what would be a great alternative robotics kit to the Mindstorms EV3 or the Inventor? So in your, I guess, experience, what do you think's out there that could be knocking on the door saying, hey, we're a really good robotics kit. We'll take your money and, we'll support you with software, apps, customer service.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. And like I think like nothing really beats the Lego experience in terms of its the customer services, at least in Australia. But I have sort of tried a bunch of other education kits, and one that's becoming really popular from where we are is the VEX IQ system. VEX IQ is very similar to the EV3 Mindstorms kit, like the old school EV3 Mindstorms kit, but it's really modernized because there's a built-in gyroscope in the hub, what they call the brain of the robot, and the the VEX brain is also fully got a full OS on it. You can move and change options on the hub, much like the old EV3. And the motors are extremely powerful. You can fit something like 10 or 12 ports in there. They're 12 input and output ports. So you can fit in so many motors and so many sensors onto it to make it really powerful. And then they have a competition environment as well. So definitely VEX IQ has been a strong contender in Australia for that alternative Lego experience. I don't feel like it is beating Lego at the moment, but it's definitely a very viable system if you are considering alternatives. What about you, Mitch? Have you seen something like that in the USA?
Well, my students, when we had a robotics 1 and a robotics 2, and then my third year students, we needed something for them, and that's when we did go with VEX. I don't know if you remember the swept away, where we had the metal pieces. I I don't know. I always told my principal I felt like I was striking out with any time that we went away with Lego. Um, and this is nothing to say bad about the VEX kits that you're talking about, but when we did the metal robots with VEX, it just always seems something always went wrong as far as the motor ports. They had these really tiny wires, and if you just put it in wrong, you push too hard, it would, they would break off. And so I don't know. My experience was, I just want to get back to EV3. Is there something else they can do with EV3? Just because, I don't know, we did VEX and we did Tetrix. And so a lot of times when we went to the metal robots, I knew that they would start to head that way with high school, where they would do um, FTC and things like that. And so I was like, yeah, let's get them involved. But then it always seemed like, I don't know, the reliability of the parts and pieces, and just being able to be as user friendly as the Lego just seemed to be, I don't know, it seemed to be in a different ball game, where I was always gravitating back to Lego, like, hey guys, why don't we go back to do Lego and just do something a lot more complicated than what we were doing. So I don't know, my experience with other kits have just been a little negative, sour. Going back to the VEX IQ, is there any, what would you say is comparable with the price? I mean, I know it's hard because they're two different kits, but as far as somebody that's wanting to just say, hey, I have some money, what would you say about the price?
I think the in Australia at least it's priced very similar to a Spike Prime kit. The VEX IQ, they call it the classroom kit, is about 600, 700 Australian dollars, which is very similar to the Spike Prime kit. I think it's strategically sort of planned that way. But yeah, I think the main complaint is the familiarity with the parts. It's much harder to put parts together and to remove. They have like special tools that you need to use to remove parts, even though they're not necessarily stronger connections than Lego as well. So there are definitely ways for VEX to improve. But VEX has like demonstrably stronger motors. They have like metal axles that make stronger like drivetrains and things like that for the robots. So there's a lot of areas that people enjoy with VEX, but yeah, still a little bit of a way to go to bring in new players who are familiar with Lego, I think.
What would you say are any negatives about the VEX IQ? If somebody that was trying to compare and go, well, what do I think I'll lose if I go to VEX IQ?
I think the VEX competitions are very different to FLL competitions. They are very much score based. Like you score well on the day, and you win. You score poorly, then you lose. Whereas in Lego, there is a bit of forgiveness in terms of like adding things like your core values, your teamwork, and your sportsmanship, and also your innovation project to demonstrate a wider variety of sciences that you learn. That's what I really like about FLL. But the VEX competition is very much like you put your robot in there and then it has to score really high. And in the end, because everyone's doing the same mission, everyone's robot tends to be the same. Like that's sort of a weakness that I see in VEX. And another big drawback in VEX is that it focuses more on like remote control, like you hold almost like a PlayStation controller to control your robot. Whereas in Lego, it's about pre-planning and strategizing with autonomous movements all the time. And I think that's like invaluable, like to teach kids, especially for robotics, because you want the robots to make the decision. You don't want the people to be controlling it all the time, right? So
Yeah.
I think like that's the main drawback for the VEX IQ system.
And that's the tough part too, is, I don't know. I thought that with the VEX, I thought that that was probably its biggest positive was the remote control and how smooth and easy it was as compared to EV3. Because I had my students try to remote control it. It was the toughest thing because, um, in fact, I just did a video today. I don't know if you knew this, Gary, but the Commander app is gone. The only way I still have it
What?
is still on my phone. Yeah. I had a viewer say,
Whoa.
Mr. Hino, what do I do to remote control my robot? Because the Commander app is gone. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I hopped in on the Play Store and I couldn't find it. And so um, I found one that is okay. It doesn't let you do as many cool things as the Commander app did, but I said, sorry, but for now, this will have to do. Like with the Commander, you can make your robot turn and go straight at the same time. With this one that I was testing out, you had to do one or the other. Like you had to go forward, then turn, and and so yeah, I was blown away too. I was like, who knew unless you really were looking for it and then just couldn't find it. So yeah,
Oh, that's crazy. What are they thinking, Mr. Hino?
I, I think that's where everybody is starting to freak out that everything is going to be gone, and and everything that they were used to having is now either obsolete or just not even there. So um I guess that could lead into another question. And in fact, that might be answered when we were talking about the Qikeasy, but I had a viewer saying, what do I do, or what do I start doing with all my EV3s as things are starting to break down? Because they're saying, when the motors go, or you got, Gary, those cables with those little plastic tabs. That's why I like the Spike Prime ones, but they're like, what do I start to do when things get too expensive to repair? And so you can revisit the Qikeasy, or you might have other answers for that person.
Yeah, no, I did try Qikeasy, and it was great to if you are in that situation where you have lots of old robots, but you want to use it in combination with your new robots. Qikeasy is fantastic. I think the main um message though is that it is still a stopgap solution. It's not going to be a permanent solution in the end. It's going to be great for this period where your old stuff is no longer relevant, but then your new stuff is starting to come in, and you still have like you got 5 EV3s and 5 spikes. Like you don't want to waste them. That's when Qikeasy comes in. But then eventually you will get the funding to get the rest of your spike primes, and then you will no longer need the Qikeasy system. But I think in general though, the fact that Qikeasy is possible is kind of a good sign. It's sort of a sign that Lego is moving towards more sort of standardized sort of connections, so that people can make these kind of bits of hardware to make them compatible. And Qikeasy is an example. The Raspberry Pi is another example where they are demonstrating that their hardware is going to be interoperable with other systems. So it's not always going to be a Lego system that you have to buy Lego stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good sign in the future to see it work. And there are lots of really cool YouTubers out there who demonstrate. I saw people put like a touch screen attachment onto their Spike Prime to balance like a metal ball on a plate. That's really really cool.
Mm.
And you wouldn't be able to do that if Lego forced everyone to use Lego parts all the time. So I think yeah, in answer to that question, I think I hope that there are more of these solutions out there that will become more and more popular,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they'll get a bigger audience for the new Lego robots.
Mm. Yeah, I guess you nailed it on the head. Like when we were teaching with textbooks, you're just going to eventually get to the point where something takes its place. It's been a long time since I've taught a class with textbooks because we've been going digital. And it's like, hey, doesn't this class have a textbook? And you're like, what's that? And so I guess my huge question is, Gary, how did you get your hands on a Qikeasy?
Qikeasy reached out to me. They asked me if I can do a review on it. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to do the review. But they did end up sending it to me. But yeah, the review video is on the way, and yeah, hopefully we will get a closer look on that in another video.
I guess your name must be higher up on the list because they told me I was going to get one, and I haven't seen it yet. So
Oh no!
Gary,
Oh no!
you must have been the shareholder that was above me. They're like,
No!
once we give it to Gary
Don't,
first.
don't say that, Mr. Hino. You've got a bajillion more subscribers than
I think they probably went, yeah, Gary's going to be able to use this and figure it all out quicker than Hino will. So, but so in your book, for somebody who wants to use their spike with their EV3, was it pretty user friendly?
Yeah, very user friendly. I think they do come out with um updates every now and again, and I think they've completely changed their hardware since they sent me the test one before. So like my version's not even very relevant now, but the system is great because it still has all the PID software that adjusts the motor position, and also the tuning's great. It works with sensors and motors. So it's really, really, really good. Definitely test it out. I might have to send you my version.
Ooh, ooh. Now don't say that if you're
I'll
not going to give that to me. Um, well, for those of you that, because Gary and I, we were talking before about Qikeasy, and so if you're just watching this brand new, Qikeasy is a way for those of you that have a Spike Prime hub to be able to use your old EV3 parts with it. Now, Gary, what do you need to be able to utilize it? Do you need to hook it up into your computer? Um, Maybe quickly run through what is the process of using it.
Yeah. So the final product in Qikeasy already has I believe firmware already loaded into it, but like the version that I received, I had to sort of fiddle around with it a little bit to get it working. But I've been told that it's much more streamlined now. But after it is all set up, you can plug in your motors from EV3, and then the other side plugs into the USB port in, I mean the yeah, one of the ports in your Spike hub, and then that little motherboard will control the EV3 attachment. I believe it only attaches a limited number per little board, but yeah, it's interoperable. And then in the end, you can use the Spike software to control the Mindstorm, the EV3 motor and sensor.
Mm.
So it basically maps it. It makes your Spike hub think that it has a Spike motor attached, but it actually has a
Wow.
EV3 motor attached. Mm.
Is it so
And same with the sensors. Same with the sensors. Mm.
user friendly that eventually a fifth grader could use it and not have any issues? I mean, would that be
Um,
your
I would I would say that my particular version was probably not ready for classroom use because there was like a spin up time that in order for the Qikeasy to connect and communicate what it needs to communicate to my hub. So it's not like instantly workable. Like you plug it in, like a lot of kids will plug things in and then hit the run button on their code and expect things to work. But with Qikeasy, there was a bit of a spin up time between when things are connecting and when before things are actually recognized in the software as well. So it may have been improved. But the version I had, I was a bit hesitant about, but it seems like they have made much progress in the last few months. So definitely check that out as a possible solution if you have lots of EV3s and lots of spikes.
Oh, so that's it, Gary. They're gonna send me the updated version.
Yes,
Oh, okay. I guess I
that's it.
should.
I was the guinea pig. I was the
Okay.
guinea pig. You were the main customer, and
I
you're
don't
going
know
to have the bells and whistles.
Okay, Gary, I got one last question for you. Um, if you're a brand new robotics teacher with zero equipment and $25,000, and you can convert that to Australian money to whatever, that might be in American, what would you buy for your classes, your robotics classes?
Well, $25,000 is a lot of money. So it's so my dream some kind of classroom organization would be uh, maybe 10 BrickCube uh, BrickCube Motion Essential kits, and then 10 of the Spike Prime kits. That would be like very like the baseline of what we would need to teach like all your elementary kind of school um, um, classes, because BrickCube Motion Prime Essential is great for little kids because it's got like 10 or 20 instructions in like printed form, and you learn all the things like gears and levers and little pulleys and things like that. Get kids used to that system, and then Spike Prime is great for years 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. So just those will probably cost you like a big chunk of that money. But then after that, it's up to the educator. Do you want to do more FLL or do you want to do VEX? Yeah,
Mhm.
are you in for the more variety of FLL where you're teaching kids about sportsmanship and autonomous coding and sensors? Then you would buy another 10 boxes of the Spike expansion sets, right? You would teach them how to do complicated robots and do FLL. But if you are more into more competitive in terms of cutthroat kind of competition where it's all about the points, you want your kids to be sort of learning to compete in that kind of sport, then you probably choose a bunch of VEX kits. So it really depends on the educator, and also depends in the next few months on how Lego and how their competitors sort of bring out new products as well and new updates to their products. Because from what I've seen, like I couldn't teach Python with Spike at the moment because of the Spike 3 update. I needed the connection improvements, but I had to lose all my Python curricula because the new version of Spike doesn't support Python yet.
Mhm.
So now I'm forced to teach C++ with VEX. So that's it's another drawback in timing. So it's really going to depend on the educator, the school, what they want their kids to be learning, and also what they feel like their favorite robotics company is going to come out with in the next few months.
And you also set aside some money for your EV4, right?
Absolutely, EV4 is coming out. You saw it here on the Mr. Hino Robotics channel first. EV4 is coming out.
We're going to cause a lot of trouble, aren't we? They're going to be calling up Lego. Hey, when's this EV4 coming out? Only
Yeah,
in
it's
our
going to be our
dreams.
thumbnail. It's going to be a thumbnail, EV4.
Ooh, then we're going to be accused of clickbait right there. We'll
It's
put
worth it.
EV4 with a question mark just to keep ourselves safe.
A really small question.
There you go. Oh man, that was fun. That was funny. Well, that was it
Yeah.
from my side, Gary. That was a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
I hope all of the folks that, I don't think we answered everybody's question, but um, I don't know, that sent I hope a lot of folks down the right direction. It just kind of depends on who they are. And I'm sure they don't want to hear that, like, oh, I could have answered that one myself. But really, they got to figure out what they want, before they know where their direction is. So, um, and with Mindstorms, it kind of answered that question for them. Like, I guess you're not going the Mindstorms way. And, you know, like I said, I hope a lot of people don't jump off the Mindstorms bandwagon and go somewhere else. And then they come out with an EV4 and they're like, why did I do that? Because some people are going to get desperate and they're going to feel like, well, I'm just going to go a different direction. And then by then, the funding will be gone.
Absolutely. I think Lego could do probably better with their community engagement with the robotics community, um, as all companies could, to get people involved and listening, and I think hopefully in the end, teaching kids about robotics is what we do, and we will do what we can with what we have. Isn't that right, Mitch?
Yep.